There is a particular problem that comes up when anyone wishes to speak about sciences. People will say, science has shown us, science proves, it's just science. Whenever science shows up, in the singular and possibly capitalized, people want to emphasize that the argument is closed, that this is simply how things are. Conversely, when we talk about sciences, we want to instead emphasize the processes that organize our worlds. When someone says science, they're connecting it to nature, again, capitalized and singular, which is quite distant from us and which only the scientist can access. When we speak of sciences, we are not trying to imply a world separated from us totally and completely, but a world that may be distant to us now, but might become at any moment quite close. When science is brought up, it is so it can contrast nature with the world of politics or cultures, which is said to trap the individual through representation, secondary qualities, or variations in perception. When the sciences are brought up, it is instead to say, no one is trapped. We are simply in the process of ordering to create a world we hold so dear to us. Let us go through an example. Let's say you're talking to someone who is telling you race is real. You, being someone who knows a little bit about this stuff, might say race, of course, is a biological construct, and from there, they will go on. Through the rest of this, we will mostly focus on the person saying race is real for brevity. You see, you're simply showing your ignorance. Despite the boundaries we designate not being perfect, the thing itself is, of course, still completely real. Of course, in designating race a construct, perhaps even adding the word social to it, unlike what this person says, you didn't want to take away its reality. You of course know race has profound effects, and you can point to them. Your point isn't that it doesn't have effects. Having gone on for quite a while, you will explain that the genetic markers they will have been talking about are looked for to separate categories already created. Common misunderstanding. The categories emerge from the data. You will think back to the graph they've shown earlier and be dumbfounded because the thing they've shown you contradicts their own point. The data, of course, must have come pre-marked and colored, as if the genetic markers of people from this region were blues, reds, oranges, and greens. At this point, in a fit of frustration, you might say how tired you are of points like these that come from race realists of the past. No dogma or politics. It is just science with demonstrable evidence. I can't be racist. End scene. They went through it all, didn't they? The very end, the closing of the argument. It's just science. In the beginning, talking about this nature, which the sciences accesses through, of course, things like the graph we showed earlier, along with the point, of course, that no, we get our categories from the data. And finally, the last sentence of this dialogue, the explicit phrase, no dogma, no politics, along with the idea that even if we are trapped to only represent the things themselves, they are still, of course, real, just in another realm. All of this, of course, will not be limited to race realists. I could go through several more imaginary dialogues that would show this very point, which some of you might have experience with. The point is that in appealing to science, this person wanted to short-circuit the discussion. End it there. The facts are the facts. They will tell you, pounding their fist on the table. Of course, they will leave out all the controversies, all the uncertainties, everything that doesn't fit their goal. To end with a quote from Latour himself. You can try to play this miserable game of explaining aggression by invoking genetic makeup of violent people. But try to do that while dragging in, at the same time, the many controversies in genetics, including evolutionary theories in which geneticists find themselves so thoroughly embroiled. When we are referring to sciences, we, the lovers of sciences that we are, want to point to uncertainty. Not because the sciences are useless or they don't produce knowledge or truth. Instead, we want to point this out because, like scientists, we also know not everything is ordered yet. The process simply isn't complete. More writing, more graphs, more rat brains. Thank you all for listening. Going to try to put out more easy stuff like this until I can finish doing all the research my matters of fact versus matters of concern video. This is my first time doing something like this. I hope I did at least a decent job, though if you didn't like it or thought I could do better, I'd be happy to read a comment explaining why and what I can improve upon. Otherwise, if you like what I do, or just like Latour, I am currently doing a reading of Politics of Nature on stream, which also has a playlist of all the other streams I did on it. I also run a fiction book club in another server, which I will link in the description. Along with that, I'm going to be starting up several other of my book clubs again, but those will be around other philosophy stuff. I have a Discord server of my own, which I will link in the description, that is also on my channel as one of the links. I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm happy I had to put out something simple like this in the meantime while I work on my other essay.